The greatest thing about Amazon Web Services for us is that it really scales with the business needs, and not only from a capacity perspective, but also from a regional expansion perspective, so that we can take our business model, roll it out across the region, and actually also eventually roll it out across the globe. I'm Marcelo Wessler, CEO of SingPost ECommerce, and I take care of the e-commerce division for Singapore Post. Singapore Post is traditionally the mail provider for Singapore, obviously. So we're headquartered in Singapore, but we actually are represented all across the region in Asia Pacific. We also have locations in the US and Europe. We've also diversified into financial services, and then last but not least into e-commerce. So that's the parts that I'm taking care of. We started out Singapore Post e-commerce about 2.5 years ago, and we have since grown to more than 1,000 brands on our platforms that we currently support. We now generate about 27% of all revenue for Singapore Post is e-commerce related. If you want to run an e-commerce site, the technology becomes extremely important. And that was one of the things that actually Singapore Post didn't have before we ventured into e-commerce. So it became essential that we can set up reliable, scalable e-commerce systems and to do that in a very, very quick way. When we started out with e-commerce in Singapore Post, we didn't quite know which business model would actually work best. So we had to test and pilot and literally experiment a lot of various business models. So the cloud actually allowed us to do that without investing heavily into CapEx. So there were many factors for us to decide on which technology or technology provider to go with. The main factor was probably security, because usually CIOs evaluate us on how secure our systems are. Customer data is extremely important to them, so we have to do everything that we can to protect their customer data. AWS is great with that, so that was a great benefit from AWS. A second one is scalability. So from one day to the other, your transaction volume can increase by 10x, Singles Day, Black Friday, Christmas, Chinese New Year, you name it. All of these events cause big spikes in the business, so we needed an infrastructure that can scale up, but also down, so that we can optimize the cost. The best thing for us about Autoscaling is that our sites are never down. Then the second best thing is that it's extremely cost effective, that we really only pay what we use. So we started out with Southeast Asia first, so we had to literally everything on the Singapore cloud. We were fairly successful there and then actually expanded to Australia. So with AWS, that was actually significantly easier than it used to be 5-6 years ago. When we had to procure new servers, install everything in a data center in Australia. With AWS, we were literally able to take whatever we have in Singapore and move that to Australia. Since we've launched the platform in 2012, we haven't had a single second of downtime. So that's what we're very, very proud of. Then the second thing that really helped us is actually optimize cost. So having AWS certified engineers in our team really helped us lower our operating cost even further beyond the peaks and the lows. One of the things we're testing now is Europe. And that's the great thing about AWS. So we literally have a prototype live in Austria. And if that does well, then we can actually move a whole lot more of the current offering into Europe and then serve the big brands and retailers also in Europe.